So welcome everybody. Thank you so very much for connecting with us this afternoon. We are delighted to be with you and really to kind of share a little bit of our experience, hopefully some value-added tips and insights to help you kind of improve your businesses in this area. And hopefully, really start to put in the critical building blocks to support your access to finance quest. My name is Grant Prince. I'm the head of our impact investing team at Fetola. And I've been with Fetola for a number of years now. And this is really an area that I'm passionate in, and I work very closely with Martin and the rest of the Investment Readiness team to bring financing opportunities and growth opportunities closer to entrepreneurs across the country. And I'm really passionate about helping businesses scale and move to their next level of development. And I would say that this conversation is very relevant for you guys in the early stage, as well as in the growth and scale stage as well. For those in ideation, you're starting off on the right foot. You're starting off with critical insights and knowledge that will help you to build out your business in the way that will fast track your bankability. So that's awesome. Thank you very much. Cool. So now we know what we have in the room. We know kind of what the interest is. So just a little bit about Fetola. So Fetola has been going for more than 18 years, and our core mission is to help businesses start, grow, and scale, right? So we've been doing this for more than 18 years. And what's really important to us is to help small business owners and small businesses live for a long time and achieve success and thrive for many, many years. And we're very proud that a lot of the entrepreneurs that have graduated from our programs have really managed to sustain themselves, their businesses, and have gone on to do really amazing stuff. So much so that, a lot of them are exporting now or operating in other countries, have expanded geographically. So we want to do more of that, right? And that's really that's where our heart is. We're best known for our 4 national accelerators. Some of you might have been on the Torowana program, so the comprehensive approach that is taken there. I think that program's in its 10th or 11th year. And then we have a big focus on green economy and circular economy and sustainability. We really believe that business and the planet can't operate in isolation, right? You take your environment as part of your business, and so we're really trying to promote circular economy in particular and make it mainstream. Then we've got the Youth Startup Accelerator, which is in second iteration this year, and there's some really amazing outcomes that are really pleasing to us. And then we've also got to focus on investment readiness as a standalone solution as well. So that's a little bit about Fetola. So we've got our head office is in Cape Town, but we operate nationally, and we're looking forward to kind of building a deeper relationship with every one of you on the call and connecting with you going forward. Cool. So now to introduce our speaker, our main speaker for today is Sello Martin Matshego. He's the head of our investment readiness portfolio at Fetola. So Sello, or Martinez, aka Martin as we know him, works with hundreds of entrepreneurs each year in facilitating access to finance. He particularly oversees the management and administration of our grant funding solutions. and that serves in excess of 150 entrepreneurs each year. There are a variety of funds that he oversees, and he's got a really great experience in managing and facilitating access to various funds. And as you guys will know, he really, brings his heart and soul to his work and serves with a lot of dedication and excellence. Martin, thank you very much for leading the session, and wish you guys all of the best and to enjoy the conversations going forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Grant. I need to make sure that you open for me at my wedding and you open for me when I go to sleep and when I wake up in the morning. That was very touching. Thank you very much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, it's not morning, it's afternoon, right? So just as a house rule, if you would like funding in the near future, or potential funding, we do not provide funding to people with their cameras off. So if your camera is off, then there will be no funding for you. So if you would like to ensure that your chances of getting funding at some point in the near future are heightened, please do turn your cameras on. I do have a team that is in attendance today that will be taking regular pictures of the gallery to see who has their camera on and who does not. So if your camera is not on, no funding for you. Right. So speaking of funding, we are going to touch on a subject that is very well known in the market. Everyone that you meet on the streets, your cousin, your friends, your old colleagues, your old schoolmates, whoever has opened a business, chances are if you ask them what issue they are facing, they're most likely going to say they do not have access to finance. Now, this is a universal issue. It is not just segmented to this country of ours. However, it is even more glaring when you take a bit of a deeper approach to analyze it with a more needle-based lens. So we've found that there are ample amounts of funding available in the market. So you have hundreds of enterprise development firms, you have hundreds of funds that exist out there, you have hundreds of investors. Your cousin is an investor, your uncle is an investor, your aunt is an investor. There are numerous opportunities for investment out there. The unfortunate part is the presentation of what the entrepreneur has and what the investor is looking for tends to get lost in translation. For instance, you have a business that you have been running, that you wake up and work in, day night. You stress, you don't sleep, you lie in agonizing pain, wondering how you're going to make it work. This is only known to you. The investor is sitting with money. Let's say they cashed out their pension, your aunt or your uncle or whoever, cashed out their pension, their two-pot system. And they're sitting with 30,000 rands sitting in reserve that they want to deploy. But they do not know what they want to deploy it in. So you have an opportunity that is the business that you wake up every day and work in, and they have the funds that are available to deploy into your business. However, how do you find them and how do they find you? That is the challenge. Then once you find each other, it is how do you present what you have been working on day in, day night, all this time? And will it be in the manner, shape, or form that is well received, accepted, and leads to a successful financing conclusion with your investor? That is the main gap that exists. So you have expectations that sit on the investor side of things, and then you have expectations. So you have expectations, you want grant funding, you want someone to just bless you so that you can grow your business. You want someone to close their eyes and say, let's see what you can do with it. Whereas the investor is saying, okay, I want to throw money in, but I want to see my bank account grow after a year. You know you can't repay back the money in a year. The investor wants repayment in a year. Those type of misalignment of expectations are most likely what leads to unsuccessful financing applications. So you know what you work in, you know what you are good in, but the ability to present it to an investor is where it goes missing. So let's just work on it from a personal perspective, right? If you wake up and you are a South African living in this economy that we are currently in, with all of the situations that we have politically or otherwise, right? Where only the Springboks and our Olympics team are doing well. You might in the morning wake up to a text message, a phone call from a friend, a cousin, someone you know, someone you trust, someone you love, or otherwise, that says, things are bad, I need a loan from you, right? So obviously this person thinks you have money. Let's start there. So, whenever you get a text from someone saying, um, can I please have some money? Just know that the way you are presenting yourself is presenting as someone who has money. So you're already doing something right in this world. Then you then have to make the decision. So we're putting you in the shoes of the investor right now. You then have to make the decision that says, do I lend this person money or not? Now, we all have the exact same process, whether you are from Guruman, whether you are from Tabanchu, whether you are from, name a place in Limpopo, wherever, right? Tanin, wherever you're from, whatever way you were brought up, we all have the exact same framework where we analyze whether or not to give someone money. We're going to go into that because the way you think about it is the exact same way the investor will think about it. So, one, who do you lend to? You lend to people that, one, you know. So, the familiarity that you are able to develop with an investor is the key number one point of departure. If you're filling in an application form for funding, how you develop the familiarity is in the way you introduce your business. So the investor is looking for, let's say, for example, we have an investor that wants people that do electrical wiring, right? They want to invest in people who do electrical wiring. The way you come off from the get-go introducing what your business does, if it meets the key points that the investor is looking for in order to know what industry you operate in, the familiarity is immediately lost. So it is the ability to be able to develop an emotional connection with your investor. Either one, through what you do, two, through the problem you are solving, or three, through your ability to demonstrate how other people are perceiving your business. So your testimonials, your brand presence, can you get people to spread word of mouth? It sounds like everyday normal activity, but you'd be surprised as to the length that a strong presence, a strong brand presence goes in developing familiarity between you and an investor. Even if they heard about you in passing, they were at a funeral, they were at a wedding, and someone said, hey, my friend, have you heard of so-and-so's business? They do 1, 2, 3. That is familiarity. That is a great way to get in and develops your familiarity with the individual that is going to be the recipient. So before you deploy your money to whoever texted you early in the morning at 6 o'clock saying, Chief, I'm going through issues, can you give me money? The first step was familiarity. Do you know this individual? Then the next step is this individual responsible with their money? Now, this varies. How you are responsible with money is different to how your neighbor is responsible to money. It's different to how other people in this room are responsible with money. You, as an individual, know what you need to see in order to be able to assess whether an individual is responsible with money. You need to see whether they wake up every day in the morning to go to work and they never take off days because they were too drunk or they were too babalast to go to work. That's how you want to see it. You might need to see what kind of car do they drive. what kind of office do they work in, you know, what kind of house do they live in, the likes. These are all the rationales that you go through to determine whether this person is safe with money, even if it's their own money. So that when you give them your money, they won't deviate from the way they currently operate with their own money. I.e., if this individual gets a salary every month and they're able to cover expenses, they never go hungry, whatever, now is the opportunity for them to grow whatever they want to build, they want to refurbish their house. If you have seen over time that they're able to develop themselves, they're able to live comfortably normally, you will then have faith in your money being in their hands. So you need to see some kind of track record of how they work with their money, whether it be through books, whether it be through behavior, whether it be through personality. That is how you will evaluate whether they're responsible with money. Then we all want to hear a sob story, or we want to hear a great decision. So when someone is asking you for money, why do they need the money? They need it because situations occurred, they need to plug a hole, or they need it because they've recently identified something that they want to do. Those are the reasons. If someone asks you for money and they did not give you a reason why they need money, you will not give them the money because what's going to happen? So it is a give and take relationship, right? Now, this all feels as though it is, what's the word? Normal. However, normal is the way that business works. The shoes that I'm getting you to think in are the shoes of an investor. The non-justification of why there is a need for money is sometimes a core reason behind the financing application failing. Then we give money to people that we know what they're going to do with the money. Step by step, okay, Chief, I'm going to give you 100 Rand. What are you going to do with this 100 Rand? I am going to buy A, B, C, D, E. A, B, C, D, E will allow me to make that 100 Rand back in 3 months. And in 3 months, I won't need to ask you for money again. I'll be able to do it myself. That is justification that you require from someone else. Why should that justification then go missing when the investor is now looking for you and asking for justification of what you're going to do with funds? So the more detail that is provided to you in order to make a decision on whether to lend money to someone is the same level of detail that an investor is going to require. Then last but not least, you lend money to someone you know will pay it back. So which means the trust that is developed from the get-go, you know from all of those things that we've covered, that if I give this individual money, there is a higher risk or there's a lower risk of me getting my money back. And that is an internal decision that you make yourself. So in summation, we lend to people we know, people we like, and people we trust. If you lend to someone that does not meet these 3 criteria, please drop your email address and your phone number in the chat. I would like to scam you as of the end of the session. In the absence of that, we want to know the individuals that we lend money to. I ideally would like to like these individuals or like what they're doing or like their behaviors and the likes. And we want to trust that they will be able to be safe with the money and the money will be returned back. That is the core departure point of what is known in the market as investment readiness. The investment readiness is the ability of a business to present itself as a credible market opportunity. So that credible part is where it goes missing with the investors. The investors are looking for a credible opportunity that meets their mandate. Their mandate is, I'm looking for individuals that do electrical wiring. I only invest in the individuals that do electrical wiring. And they need to be at a scale where they are generating 100,000 to 200,000 Rand in revenue annually. You come there with your fruits and groceries business, and you're saying, we do electrical adjacent. We sell electrical equipment. There's a plug there. There's a two-point plug. There is a charger that we sell in our grocery store. So we do electrical wiring in a way. That would not meet what your investor is requiring. And that, unfortunately, is one of the main hurdles where the investor and investee, potential investee, go missing. So you encounter investment readiness, and it's not a mystical journey. You are doing it by running your business. The only challenge is in the ability to present your business in a way that is acceptable and required by an investor. So, how do you build credibility? From the get-go, most likely your investor is going to be an institution or an individual that is managing other people's money. So they have a fiduciary duty to the individuals that they are managing money on behalf of to make sure that they make sound, responsible financial choices with that money. So again, you are in the shoes of someone asking for money, right? You know what you need to see in order for you to make a financing decision. Where does it go missing when someone is asking you for money? Chances are is where it goes missing when you go out looking for funding. So first step is compliance. Do you have your papers in order? Are you great with SARS? Are you great with your two-pot system? Are you great with your Chamber of Commerce? Do you have health and safety? Do you have PPE? Do you have certification for PPE? Do you have ISO 9000? Do you have ISO 9002? All of the different facets that go into what is required as compliance for your business is your number one step in running an investable business. That being said, if your business needs investment in order to become compliant, that is a whole other issue that needs navigating in itself. Please do email me at smmatshego@fetola.co.za and we will have a chat about how do we solve that. But if you can solve compliance challenges yourself, please do address them, because what compliance mishaps mean is you are prone to either fines or potential shutdown, which means the potential of your investor receiving their funds back is jeopardized. In that instance, then, where does the investor's responsibility lie? To their own board? Therefore, they cannot invest in you. So, first step is, are you compliant? Do you have your CIP registration? Do you have a separate bank account? The likes. Then, the same way we need to know someone who's responsible with money, you need to show your traction and you need to show where you come from. So, have you gotten in touch with your markets? Do they want what you're providing? Do they want it at a larger quantity? If you are growing your business, you need to be able to provide it in the right manner and vein. Can you provide proof that they want more? You need to accumulate that. Go do surveys, go do interviews, the likes. That is how you demonstrate demand, so that you can prove why you need an investment to upscale your supply. If you're going out looking for an investor, there should be only two criteria that you need to internally meet before you go out looking. One, it's you need to grow faster, or two, you need to change and you need to diversify. Those are the only two criteria. If you have a criteria that is not that, if you need survival funds, you are not going to get an investor that invests in your survival. They need to invest in whatever your new venture is going to be once you grow. So bear that in mind, right? So you need to demonstrate how you got to the point that you're at now. What kind of marketing tools did you use? How did you approach your market? How did you get them to be return customers, the likes? So you see, it's not only about the funding. It goes into a wraparound support of what your business is actually operating like. So you can't just focus on, I need funding because I need funding. So this is where the investor then needs to get to know and like you and trust you. Then You need to have been in the game. You need to have been playing the business game that you have been operating in, i.e., you need to be visibly fatigued and tired and exhausted from running this thing. Their money is safe in your hands. So therefore, they need to see all of the labor, all of the time, all of the money that you have invested in bringing your business up to this point. If they can see your passion and your commitment to this business, then they can buy in and also be committed and invested. So the demonstration of how much you have worked to bring the business up to this point. If you need to put a picture there of you crying before you go to sleep, if you need to put a picture in your investment application of you, I don't know, shivering and being cold outside because you didn't have electricity, show them. You need to provide that level of detail. It needs to be that touching and that passionate for an investor so that they are able to buy into your business. Then last but not least, there needs to be a network that you work with. How did you get the business to this point? The investor needs to know, do you have the right level of experience? Just aggregating what you need in order to build this. So you see, it's not only about I need 50,000 in order to buy equipment that will lead to sales. It is the whole thing. It is the full wraparound that says, I started this for A, B, and C. I have grown the business to D, E, and F. I am facing challenges because of, I lost my alphabets, X, Y, Z. And that's why I need this amount. I hope it makes sense. If it makes sense, it makes sense in the chat, please. Otherwise, we are wasting each other's time. So yes, please just let me know if it is or making sense. So then what we then at Fetola do is we then help an entrepreneur go around the whole facet of the business. So in order to attract investment right at the end of the journey, you need, and we need to make sure that the way you approach how you execute everything in the process is effective and is demonstrable and is documented so that it can then be presented and published to an investor. So at the core point, at the end goal of this is that you most likely, you will get investments if you're able to package your business correctly and you're able to put it in front of the eyes of the right people. So with that being said, just the key thing that I need to touch on. If you are here and the funding that you think you need is grant funding, please post the name of your business in the chat just so that I am aware. All right. So grant funding, which is sometimes perceived as free money, has two main challenges. One, the entrepreneur stops operating the business under the vision and guidance that they developed, and you then start doing it for the purposes of what your investor wants. I.e., your investor is giving you money. Your investor needs job creation to be, sorry, your investor needs job creation in order for them to report it to their own board. You are running your business. You do not need to employ any more people. You can put equipment and more equipment and more equipment, and then your business can run sufficiently by itself. You do not need to hire people. Your investor needs you to hire people. Otherwise, the conditions of the funding fail. So what happens? Your mission now drifts from being, I would like to maximize my own opportunities. I would like to maximize my own way of operating, to then I need to appease my investor. Another example, your investor needs you, a baker, for instance. Let's say you're a baker. You are baking with the ambition of becoming the next Albani, the next Sunbake, the next Blue Ribbon, right? That's your intention. Your investor has a mandate of ensuring that school kids in local township schools are fed. What happens to that investment that you receive? Now, you're no longer developing a quality product that you would like to be proud of. You're developing a product that needs to be accessible, affordable to children in low-income areas. So you see, your mission then drifts. You now need to dance along to this tune instead of this goal that you have built. And because now your investors offering substantial amounts of money, you then eventually fall into that trap, and then you continue along the way for the next 3 to 5 years as per the contract. Once the contract lapses and they employ someone else, they invest in someone else to then provide the loaves of bread to the school, you are then left with a mission that was not yours. So you then need to start from scratch to build your business the way you intended to build it. But you are now 3 years down the line with depleted funds and a reputation that has been built of your business that is now associated with that instead of the ideal one that you were intending on. So grant funding has those challenges. When you are looking for which investor to go through and you're looking for grant funding, always make sure that it has to be aligned to where your growth path is and what the investor requires. Then you have products in the market. There's purchase order funding. There's invoice factoring. Yes, and there's a whole wide variety of different kinds of funding instruments out there. If you're looking for a loan, right, which might be preferable because you still remain in charge of what your strategic direction is, and that is assuming it is just a pure loan from a financial institution with no additional developmental support. If you receive a loan, you will be in charge of that. But remember, if you do not trust yourself with money, then this is where you will go and perish. So with a loan, you will have it there. You need to ensure in order to access a loan that whatever you are providing, whatever you are able to grow by, needs to duplicate by at least 1.5 or at least higher than the rate of return required by the bank or the investor. For example, your investor is giving you 100,000 Rand at 18% over 5 years. If you're going to take on that level of money, you need to know and you need to be sure, and in your execution and implementation, you need to be 100% certain that the margins that you are making net, not gross profit, net, not profit margin, net, outrun what your current interest rate is. So the level of growth that you need to achieve needs to be far greater than what the interest rate is. Otherwise, you are paddling, you are swimming in the exact same spot. You're not swimming, you're sinking. So make sure that you evaluate when you go, so that when you go to an investor and you're presenting your investment case, you're able to demonstrate these type of issues. Then for concessionary finance, you need to ensure that your revenue covers your costs. So if you're going to get finance that's coming from a developmental finance institution, such as the ones the government has, or some of the private ones that exist, they can provide you with finance at preferable interest rates or even sometimes is interest rate free. If you're going to receive that, your ideal goal needs to be that your revenue needs to cover your expenses. You need to use that investment to grow the business to a point where the revenue outpaces your costs. Then lastly, for equity, it is at most at the core your own personal decision. If you're going to get an equity investor in your business, it needs to be a personal decision. You can go out and outsource valuation model specialists and whatever else, but it needs to be a personal choice where you decide whether the individual you are inviting into your home, that is the place that you're operating, the thing that you wake up every day and do, if they are the right person to come with you on this journey. They need to be providing some level of insight, some level of speciality, some level of skill that allows you to grow alongside with the funding. So all of those considerations are what needs to be in place before you approach an investor, and then ensure that an investor is providing the funding or whatever support they're providing to the level that you are requiring it in. So that is it from me. If you would like to know more, please follow my YouTube channel. No, I do not have a YouTube channel, so unfortunately. Please just follow Fetola. But we will dive into an entrepreneur that actually went through the process and perhaps maybe uncover more details as to where the gaps lie and where the challenges lie. So with that being said, I'd like to welcome Anda. Um, so Anda is the CEO of Vogue Hygiene. She has been managing this business for quite some time and has run it into a very strong business that currently employs over 200 people. It is based in the Western Cape, and she is a mother as well. So she's not just mothering other employees, but she's mothering her own children as well. Anda, are you here?
Good afternoon, Martin. I'm here. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you
How are
for
you
this
doing?
platform. I'm good. I can't complain.
Awesome stuff. So, Anda, maybe let's just start with the business when it started, right? So, what led you to opening the business? What was going through your mind when you started this journey?
Okay, first of all, I did geology. I was studying in the earth science department. And while I was studying, I realized the high unemployment rate in our country, and I didn't want to fall into the pool of unemployment. And I knew from the onset that I would have to venture into business because one of the purposes that I have in life is aligned with helping others. And I believe entrepreneurship is a great platform for me to create that greater impact that I have. So that's why I ventured into business.
Mm, okay. So, how long ago was that?
Well, it's almost a decade now. It's been 9 years.
Okay. All right. And where are you now? What does growth look like?
Well, what growth looks like, first of all, I'm going to take it back to when I started because I learned from some of the workshops and webinars that I've watched that in South Africa, small businesses don't last past 2 years from when they
Mm,
started due to the challenges that we face. So for me, when I passed the 2 year mark, I was very grateful because from the onset, I wasn't able to raise invoices in a month that could cover my overhead. So it was challenging. So for me to have gone through that, it was great. And I would say I started with the call center. When COVID came, I had to transition because the business wasn't lucrative. But growth for me now is having to get 200 plus employees and having to have a turnover speaking in millions. It's much more compared to how it looked like when I was at the beginning. I never thought it would be like this before we reach our 10-year mark. So
mm,
for me, when I got the highlight last year that from my payroll, I was able to impact almost 600 people. And that was great because I never thought I would impact close to 1,000 because as it is now, we are almost 200, more than 200 employees. So of course we are reaching that 1,000 impact just by our payroll. So that is very great.
mm. Well, I mean, it's stuff that dreams are made of, right? And some people can only dream of being there. So now, with that being said, obviously, it's a business journey. It never stops. So with this growth, with where you are now, what challenges are popping up?
Challenges that I experienced from a long time ago was things like cash flow. So sometimes bridging the gap between when you raise your invoice and when you get the actual payment from your client, it had always been difficult for me to meet up. So having to get people like your banker that is accessible, that you can get an overdraft to assist you whenever you have those kind of challenges. But other thing is when you grow, like at my stage now, that I've also mentioned that the turnover is going so high, and I would need bigger equipment. I would need more in terms of PPE. I would need more in terms of personnel. I would need more in terms of resources. For instance, I used to be in charge of a lot of aspects of my business, but as we grow, you need to get somebody to take over those. For instance, just your bookkeeping alone. You cannot do it on your own when you become when you grow. So those are the challenges that I experience, because it's not always easy to get funding, because your funder is somebody that is not in your business, and you need to give them a picture that this is how things are going in the business, and they need to be able to believe in that picture. So it's not always easy in our country, especially for me as a female. Mostly the challenge is like they always believe you are a girl and you are a child, so they don't really see you as what you see yourself as. So those are the challenges that we experience as entrepreneurs.
Yeah, no, I can only imagine. I mean, me being a non-girl myself, I can't relate. But I'm sure it poses its own challenge. So, with all those said, how are you solving like, or how have you solved the challenges with that come with growing in the past, and how are you currently solving them now?
Well, I was grateful to be part of the program with Fetola, because there you get some of the tools that you're not able to access on your own. For instance, access to workshops, access to webinars, access to your mentor, because you need someone sometimes to guide you. We often think what we need is actually money, but sometimes what you need is somebody who can guide you to make your money go further. For instance, one of the challenges that I used to have, which is regarding supply or consumables, I didn't know that I could go and speak to my supplier and ask for an account and then be able to pay in 30 days or sometimes 60, depending on the relationship we have. But then if you're on your own, you wouldn't know that maybe you can approach things differently. Another thing that I had a bigger contract, and the place where my employees were working was not easily accessible. So they needed transport to go there. And I only had a vehicle that was a 6-seater. So for me to transport that big group, we are always late and people are not getting to their post in time. So I was assisted, and I was actually the first baby of the program from the Vumela Fund. I was assisted to get a van, and the van was a 14-seater, which made it easier for us to transport our employees. And I also just love the presence that it gives to my business, because from that van and the fact that it's branded, I noticed getting calls or requests from places that the van has passed. So it also gave me a greater presence as well.
Awesome stuff. Thank you for that. I think just not because you just touched on Vumela, I will bring on Vumela just now. So our other speaker is a lady by the name of Mpho Mokotedi. Mpho has a very decorated past. She has an MBA from Gibbs and is currently doing her master's in philosophy and developmental finance at the University of Stellenbosch. And she is the ESD Funding Manager from FNB. So she would know very well as to what the different facets and what the different challenges that are being faced are. Mpho, are you there?
I am, Martin. How are you?
I am good, thanks. How are you?
I'm well, thanks.
So just on that note that Anda touched on, with receiving assistance for her challenges, what challenges do you guys tend to find that entrepreneurs experience the most when they come to you looking for funding?
It's really some of the things that I think you touched on and also under touched on. And it's also stage dependent. So we get a lot of startups that come looking for funding, and they don't necessarily have the track record to demonstrate how they're going to apply the funding and how they're going to repay and the affordability. And then you've got early stage businesses such as Under, they're growing, but their cash flow cycle, the cash inflows and the cash outflows is a mismatch there, and they need funding to actually bridge the gap. And we also find that we've got others that are growing too fast for what the current business capacity can accommodate. So those are some of the challenges that they face. And then also, some of them don't have the necessary business development skills. Maybe you had the skills to start the business, but you don't have the skills to actually take it to the next level. So where you need the training, the coaching, as Anda alluded to. So those are some of the challenges.
Well, with that being said, then, being in the shoes of the lendee, no, the lender, what does an investor want to see from, these entrepreneurs when they come? What do they need to be able to provide?
Okay, so it's a couple of things. I think firstly, they need to demonstrate that they've got a sound business model that has the ability to scale, right? And there's opportunities for it to grow. Number two is that they've got history, they've got a track record in terms of what they've done, and also track record in terms of so key milestones that they've been able to achieve, and also track record from a financial perspective. So this is demonstrated by financials, management account, the inflow and outflow of money in their accounts, and also they need to demonstrate who's running the business, who's the jockey, the team behind the business, and do they have the necessary skills to take it to the next level. So we do look at the jockey, and also compliance with not only the tax man, but also other industry related regulations that they need to adhere to. Like what you mentioned earlier, that one thing, what's important to the funder is the return on investment. Am I going to get my money back? Now, if there are risks present in your business from a model perspective, from a financial perspective, from a regulation perspective, that will jeopardize the repayment of the funds that we've given you, then that's a big red flag for us.
Okay. So then, with all these red flags, what initiatives is FNB developing, or maybe from the sector itself? What initiatives are currently being rolled out in order to try and mitigate those risks and maybe try to get a better preparation of these entrepreneurs?
So I'll speak of it in two levels, right? From an FNB perspective. So I'll kind of firstly from an enterprise and supply development perspective, where we provide both financial and non-financial support to SMEs. From a non-financial support perspective, like I said, one of the challenges that the SMEs face is business development. The skills, the training that they need. So we provide them with non-financial support from that perspective. And we design and we co-create programs such as the Youth Startup Accelerator that we run with Fetola. We've got other programs that we run for later stage businesses. So we provide that a non-financial support. And I think what is important is coupling the training with the mentorship and the coaching to help you address some of the challenges that you can't find, the answers to in a textbook. But you need somebody that's walked the journey of running a business. And then we also provide financial support. And from an ESD perspective is a lot of early stage businesses don't necessarily qualify for traditional forms of bank funding, if I could put it that way. So we've got alternative funding solutions. We do it mainly through our enterprise development fund, which is Vumela. In it, we've got various debt and equity mandates. We've got purchase order financing, which you mentioned earlier. And then from a F&B perspective as a whole, we've got business stage specific accounts, as well as funding available for those businesses that do have the balance sheets to attract debt funding. We've got term loans, we've got asset finance loans, we've got property finance loans. So we've got debtor financing as well. So we've got quite a host of solutions and tools that businesses can use. And we've got other platforms such as Fundaba as well. And we've recently launched something called The Art of Scale, which is like a virtual business coach. So we do have a host of very unique and innovative solutions to help SMEs start, run, and grow their businesses.
Okay, sounds great. Please tell me when you guys are hiring. Kidding. No, I'm not. Yes, I am. This meeting is recorded. Yes, I am very much joking. Okay, so on that note then, as a parting shot, because we are a bit pressed for time, what advice would you give to entrepreneurs out there who would say, I have the right level of skills. I've been running this thing day and night for the past 3-5 years. I know my stuff, but I can't seem to get funding, right? What advice would you give?
Okay. So I think one of the key challenges is that when you're starting or running a business or in the early stages, a lot of business don't separate the actual business from themselves, right? So you find that they're running their businesses through personal accounts, and we don't have track record. We rely on track record to actually fund. And for early stage businesses, we use scored credit, which uses behavioral algorithms, and they use the behavior that's going within the client's account to actually score facilities. So my key advice to you, number one, is please separate the two, yourself and the business. Let the business related transactions run through your business, and pay yourself a salary so that you don't have to tap into your business account. And number two, please, for those that are part of corporate supply chains, and tap into your respective sectors' ESD funds. Like I said, from a financial sector perspective, we provide non-financial and financial support through the use of ESD money, and it's a key growth lever that SMEs can tap into.
Awesome stuff. Okay, you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Do not go to Betway or Hollywood Bets on your business bank accounts. That is what she is saying in a nutshell without saying it. Stop buying KFC on your business bank accounts and the likes.
Yes.
No, thank you very much, Mpho. Thank you very much, Mpho. And then Anda, if you're still here.
Yes, Martin.
Maybe a parting shot from you. Let's say the entrepreneurs who are just like you would like to one day be on a platform and give a testimony on how they managed to raise funding the same way you have. Where do they start? What advice do you suggest they take home with?
Well, for me, most of the times when I'm going through this pathway, I've been informed that it was easy to work with me because I was a bit organized, or I am more organized. Well, I didn't feel that I was organized. I did not see that I was organized, because these are things that I do on a day-to-day basis. I keep my compliance up to date. I make sure I know my numbers. I understand what is going on and what could potentially happen tomorrow. I even try to look at the worst case scenarios of all my projects. So being on top of your game, knowing what you're doing, I think it's something that is very, very important. You don't need to stand up and start putting down your number when an investor is asking you to put together a proposal. And once you've done all of that, put your proposal together, put it there, and stand as an investor and look at it and ask yourself, will I be able to find this proposal if I was the investor? So that way you're able to see how you're going to be able to get a response, or whenever you have to go and pitch it. It's important for us to be able to check ourselves. I think most entrepreneurs just tend to sit and be into the operation side more and forget compliance. And until when things go wrong, then they start to wake up. So it's important to do it on a day-to-day basis. Thank you.
Awesome stuff. Thank you very much, ladies, and thank you very much to everyone for joining. So look, we will provide these slides and just some overall aggregation of what our panelists have said here today for your own benefit to go and reflect on, and hopefully help you start preparing yourself for a successful funding application in the future. But in essence, I believe the core points are: do get your compliance right, check how you're managing your cash flows, make sure that you are at first able to support yourself through your business. Don't go to Betway with your business bank account. Don't buy KFC with your business bank account. Don't betcha whoever with your business bank account. Run it as effectively and as professionally as possible, because all of those go into the decision making as to whether or not to provide the financing to your business. And at the core is your core source of business. So your core source of funding is supposed to come from your clients. If it doesn't come from your clients, be able to present your business to an investor. That is it from us. Thank you very much for joining us. You will receive a recording of this session via your email very soon. Otherwise, Matlatsi or Bridget, are we doing a Q&A? We're a bit over time. Bridget?
Yes. I don't know if Matlatsi is available there, but I'm sure we've got a few minutes for some Q&A.
Okay.
Yes,
if you have a
go into
burning
Q&A.
question, if you have a burning question that you absolutely cannot wait and you cannot send it to Mpho or Anda via LinkedIn, you should start using LinkedIn, by the way, as an investment readiness tip, nudge, nudge, hint, hint. If you have a burning question that you need to ask in the session right now, please do raise your hands. We will field 5 questions or so up until 10 past, and then we will close the session. So if you do, please raise and ask now or forever hold your peace. All right, Temba Cornelius Ntapo. Temba, if you have a question and your camera is off, you will not get any funding. Lovely stuff. Yes, Temba.
Afternoon, sir, and afternoon to the team also. I have one question, but before I ask a question, I just want to appreciate the lovely information and insights that you guys have shared to us today. I'm into clothing and textile manufacturing. It's manufacturing of clothes and jewelry. But now, for the past few years, my business hasn't been so good in terms of the access to tools and some of the financial difficulties, except moving from one province to another. So I just want to check is there any opportunities or maybe a programs that Fetola can provide just to have an opportunity to have access to tools or the assets, especially when it comes to manufacturing, because I do have a challenge when it comes to scaling my business, because I always need to outsource maybe a person who can do my branding, or maybe someone else that I know, or another company or another supplier who can assist in terms of finalizing or finishing up my project. So I just want to check, is there any opportunities that is currently available so that I can apply and being able to cut the middleman in terms of or finding alternative ways in terms of finishing up my project. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Temba Cornelius. So Fetola currently has 2 programs open. No, there's one. So we have a program with the SME Foundation called the Tolwana Enterprise Program. It's currently open. I think it closes on Friday, I believe, for applications. So I think that will probably be your best bet at this current point in time. There is a youth program, Youth Startup Accelerator, that is coming on board soon. I do not want to guess your age, Temba, but if you are under the age of 35, which I believe, then you would be eligible for that. So you can just stay registered and stay following our Fetola pages, and then once the applications are open, then just send apply.
Thank you very much, sir.
Just a correction there, Martin. The Tolwana, the SAP Foundation closes on Monday.
Closes on Monday. All right.
Yes.
Yeah. So you have a weekend. So don't enjoy the weekend too much. Applications close on Monday. All right. Nati. Nati, if you want funding, your camera needs to be on.
Pardon me, but unfortunately, I've got a problem with my laptop, so I would not be able to put on my face. So pardon me. My name is Zati from Knysna. I'm the vice chairperson of the Greater Knysna Business Chamber, and I'm the chairperson of the Regional Investment Conference 2024. The insights of your offerings are very much overwhelming, and the information that you guys shared here, it's very, very important. And I was wondering, because we will be having this regional investment conference and we are targeting a lot of young SMMEs, what are the chances for us to be able to invite you guys and share the platform with you so that you can be able to get more participants in your programs, and as well as broadening your market space and also network and exhibit in terms of the offerings that you guys are offering. That's just that.
Okay. Thank you, Nachi. I think Siwusang, if you're in the meeting, or one of my team members, if you could just post my email address in the chat. Nachi, please just drop that info to me via email, and then we'll see what we can coordinate from there. No? I'll take that as a yes. All right. Senzo.
Sanbona, everyone. Hi, everyone. So hi, my name is Senzo, obviously. So I'm currently in the ideation phase, right, of my business. Well, what I actually want to do, right? So I want to venture into manufacturing fences, but then the ultimate goal is to go into steel production. So it's going to be fences and then mesh for construction safety purposes, right? So currently where I'm sitting, it's a point where I've sort of sourced the equipment, or I can sort of I've found the equipment, can sort of find acquiring the equipment, but now I'm realizing that I'm gonna have a problem sort of with getting funding to actually start running the business, hiring people to start paying them on a month-to-month basis, right? So question is to Mpho, I guess. Any tips and tricks in terms of creating a pro forma cash flow statement? Because I'm finding challenges where I've said it to a couple of people, passed it around, and they're all saying it's not really compelling, right? So is there someone I can send it to, or are there any tips and tricks that I sort of look at and then sort of adjust my figures to sort of be positive in the way of like, okay, you can actually work with this. I can sort of find you to just sustain your business, to actually function and everything else. Yeah, I think that's my question. To Mpho, actually.
Awesome stuff.
Hi,
Thank you very
Senzo.
much.
Sorry, Martin, I'm going to keep my camera off. So Senzo, we have what we call Fundaba, which gives you quite a number of tools and templates that you can look at in terms of, you know, how to compile the necessary statements and cash flows that you need. And then also the internet has a wealth of templates that you can use. So if you could just, it's not working for you.
So I have a template running, right? I've downloaded the templates,
Okay.
like I've done the business plan and I've passed it around, and the templates are good, I'm not gonna lie, but it's just in terms of the figures should make sense, make the figures look compelling for you to say, actually, this is going to be a sustainable business. This guy's actually is finding the equipment, fine, but now he just needs capital to just get the business running, operational capital, I guess. And then that's where the trick is, making those figures compelling, because I've got the templates and that's the problem. Just figures need to make sense for the next guy to say, I'll give you this money, because that's the money I can't source. Well, unfortunately, right? I've sourced everything that I can to get it to sort of, okay, can actually work. But now it just needs to start moving. The only way it's going to move, I wish I could operate the equipment myself. I can't. It needs a couple of hands, and that's a problem I'm sitting with.
So I think what I'm hearing from you is there's a bit of disconnect in terms of what you're projecting, right?
Yeah.
And possibly, and without having seen what your cash flows look like, it's a bit difficult. But it sounds as if there's a mismatch, and whatever you're possibly projecting, maybe it doesn't seem realistic. based on maybe a couple of things that, so whatever your key assumptions you're making, maybe if you can articulate those better so that the reader of those cash flows can say, okay, he's basing X amount of income from this line on this. So if you could maybe bring forth what assumptions you're making or what you're basing those cash flow projections on, perhaps that could also help. And tying them to something tangible, right? So for instance, if there's maybe a contract or a customer that said, give me X amount, where your demand is actually, you can demonstrate the demand that will actually generate those cash flows for you. So I think it's your assumptions.
Yeah. So I've sort of started doing that now this week in terms of competitor analysis on how they're pricing and where they're sort of sourcing the raw materials to actually manufacture the fences. And I think maybe that's going to be more compelling because before I sort of done it, but it really wasn't in detail and
time.
Sorry. But I'll do that. Thank you.
There's Mpho's details in the chat. Please do reach out. Please do use Fundaba. It's a very great resource and tool. So yeah, you can reach out all the way through there. I'm just a bit conscious of time. So I'm taking the last three names. Kineda, please shoot very quickly if you can.
Yes, we won't be able to take any other ones after Lubabalo, please.
Okay, camera is on, so Ginelo wants funding. Let's go.
Okay, good afternoon, colleagues. Thank you for the opportunity. My question to Mpho is, I am in the property space and I am able to source funding for your small deals, but I'm now met with a bigger project than what I've worked on before, which requires a few meters. My question to you is, how do I then connect with FNB for financial and non-financial assistance and support? Thank you.
Hi, Kinelwe. I'm going to drop my email on the chat, and then you can just reach out to that email address, and somebody from my team will contact you.
I think maybe Aphiwe had the same question because she's now dropped off her question I'm asking.
Okay. Awesome stuff. Thank you very much, all 100 plus of you, for staying and sticking along for this long. Please do stick around across all of Fetola media, Facebook, LinkedIn, WhatsApp. Please do register for to follow our newsletters to be abreast with any developments coming from Fetola. Otherwise, that is it from me. Thank you very much for your attendance, and up until the next one, have a great day.